Have you ever wondered why holding on to people who no longer see your worth feels heavier than carrying the world itself? Deep inside, you know the answer. You carry their silence, their indifference, their absence, and it drains the energy you need to become the person you were meant to be. Still, you wait, you hope, you replay conversations searching for meaning that is no longer there. And all the while, the most important voice, the one inside you, gets quieter, almost forgotten. But here's the truth you need to hear right now. Your life does not get better by chasing those who walked away. It gets better the moment you choose yourself. It gets better when you stop begging for attention and start building your own light. That may sound simple, but it is the hardest lesson of all because it asks you to let go of the familiar pain you've grown attached to. Pain that became part of your story, part of your days, part of how you measure your worth. Yet holding on does not mean you are strong. It means you are afraid. Afraid to step into silence, afraid to face yourself, afraid to stand alone in a room with nothing but your thoughts. But isn't that exactly where your freedom lives? Think about it. When you let go of what was never truly yours, you open the space for something real to find you. A friend who sees you, a dream that excites you, a version of yourself who finally breathes. The people who left, who chose not to stay, are not your punishment. They are your proof. Proof that not everyone is meant to walk your entire path. Some were only meant to teach you how much you've been settling, and maybe the lesson was never about keeping them close, but about realizing you deserve more than crumbs of love, more than moments of half attention, more than promises that never turn into actions. You are here now, listening, because a part of you is ready to shift the weight from carrying others to lifting yourself, ready to see that your time, your energy, your heart are not things to be handed to people who don't protect them. Ready to finally ask, what could my life look like if I stop pouring into people who leave me empty? And the answer is powerful. Your life could look like peace. It could look like confidence that doesn't depend on someone else's approval. It could look like energy directed toward your goals, your growth, your healing. Imagine waking up not with anxiety about who might text you back, but with focus on the steps that bring your dream closer. Imagine a version of you who no longer apologizes for being too much or not enough because you've learned you are exactly what you need. Stay with me until the end, because this is not just about letting go. It is about unlocking the courage to rise higher than you thought possible. If you have ever felt forgotten, overlooked, abandoned, then this is your moment to remember yourself. And when you choose you, you will realize the people who truly belong in your life never need to be chased. They will stand with you, not because you begged them to, but because your light draws them in naturally. Your transformation begins the moment you decide I let them go and I focus on myself, and that choice will change everything. The moment you decide to release what no longer serves you, something incredible happens. You create room for yourself to grow. Most people underestimate this truth. They believe letting go is loss, when in reality it is liberation. You are not losing someone, you are gaining yourself back. Think of how many times you have shrunk your voice to keep someone comfortable. How many times you've held back your dreams because you were afraid they wouldn't understand. How many times you've ignored your own needs to keep the peace. Each of those moments was a small piece of yourself being given away. Now you get to reclaim them. When you reclaim your energy, your focus, your time, you become unstoppable. Psychology tells us that attention is our most powerful currency. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on the pain of being left behind, you keep reliving it. If you focus on yourself, on your growth, on your healing, then those things expand instead. Imagine what your life would look like if you redirected all the energy you once gave away into building yourself. That focus could transform your health, your work, your confidence, your entire identity. But to do this, you must first silence the voice that whispers you are not enough. That voice was planted by disappointment, by rejection, by the fear of being alone. It tells you that if you let go, no one else will come. That if you focus on yourself, you will seem selfish. That if you stop chasing, you will be forgotten. Yet here is the truth you need to anchor in your heart. Choosing yourself is never selfish. It is survival. It is the foundation of every strong life, every great dream, every lasting relationship. Because only when you are whole can you give without breaking. Think about a tree. Its branches reach far, but only because its roots are strong. If the roots are weak, no matter how much it stretches toward the sky, it will collapse. You are the same. Your focus is your roots. The deeper you build them into self-respect, self-love, and self-discipline, the higher your life will rise. People may walk in and out of your story, but your roots remain. And when your roots are unshakable, no storm, no rejection, no abandonment can pull you down. This is the power of letting go. It teaches you to stand on your own ground. It shows you that you don't need to be chosen by anyone else to prove your worth. You were already chosen the moment you were born. The fact that you are alive right now means you carry something unique the world needs. But you will never see it if your eyes stay fixed on those who left. You must turn inward. You must ask, what can I create? Who can I become? How much stronger can I grow if I give myself the same love I keep giving away? And when you do, the reward is beyond anything temporary approval can bring. You gain clarity, you gain peace. You gain the quiet strength that radiates without words, the kind that others notice and respect. You become magnetic not because you chase, but because you stand rooted in who you are. That is when the right people show up. That is when opportunities open. That is when you finally realize the very love you were searching for was waiting inside you all along. Letting go was never the end. It was the beginning of your return to yourself. And focusing on yourself is how you rise to meet the life you deserve. The moment you choose to focus on yourself, the world around you begins to shift in ways you could never imagine. It is as if a fog lifts, revealing paths that were always there but hidden behind the weight of distraction and doubt. For so long, you have been pouring your strength into people who never poured it back, into situations that did not honor you, into relationships that left you questioning your own value. But now, with every ounce of energy reclaimed, you begin to see that your life was never meant to revolve around those who failed to stay. It was always meant to revolve around the greatness waiting inside you. There's a reason why every major breakthrough in life begins with a moment of solitude. When you strip away the noise, when you release the opinions, when you detach from the need to be validated by others, you finally hear the sound of your own voice. That voice is wiser than you realize. It has been silenced for too long, buried under fear, comparison, and longing. But once it rises, it speaks truth. It reminds you of who you are before the world told you otherwise. It reminds you that you are worthy not because someone loves you, but because you exist. Psychology shows us that identity is shaped by what we choose to repeat daily. If you keep rehearsing pain, it becomes who you are. If you keep rehearsing growth, it rewires your brain towards strength. Every time you affirm that your focus belongs to you, you weaken the chains of dependency. Every time you choose your healing over their absence, you build new patterns of resilience. This is how transformation happens, not in a single grand moment, but in consistent choices to reclaim yourself day after day, step after step. It is easy to underestimate the small acts of self-focus. Waking up and choosing to meditate instead of waiting for a message that never comes. Writing down your goals instead of replaying their excuses. Taking care of your health instead of sacrificing it to stress. These may seem simple, but they are powerful shifts. They are statements to the universe that you are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are already choosing yourself, and that decision plants seeds of confidence that will grow into unshakable strength. When you focus on yourself, you stop chasing what is unstable. You stop running after temporary comfort. You stop handing over the keys to your happiness. And something remarkable happens. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that align with the stronger version of you. Life responds differently when you stand rooted in your own worth. The people who once overlooked you will notice your glow. The doors that once seemed locked will open because you now carry the energy to walk through them. But the true reward is not in what you gain. It is in what you become. You become someone who no longer begs for love, but radiates it from within. You become someone who no longer fears solitude, but embraces it as sacred space. You become someone who no longer bends just to be accepted, but stands tall, knowing that your authenticity is your greatest strength. And with every step forward, you realize something profound. Letting them go was not about losing. It was about clearing the space for you to rise into the life you were always meant to live. The weight is gone. The fog has lifted. Now your focus is pure, your vision is clear, and your power is finally your own. The strength you feel when you finally claim your focus is not just emotional, it is physiological. Your body responds to your choices. When you stop feeding your mind with constant comparison and rejection, your nervous system calms. Your heart rate steadies. Your breath deepens. You begin to feel safe within yourself again. Safety is the foundation of growth. Without it, your mind stays trapped in survival mode, constantly scanning for threats, constantly chasing approval, constantly burning out. But when you decide to release what no longer belongs, you teach your body that you are no longer in danger. You teach it that you are home. This is why healing starts the moment you turn your attention inward. Your brain begins to build new connections. Patterns of fear give way to patterns of strength. Science calls this neuroplasticity, the ability of your mind to rewire itself through repeated focus. Every thought you choose is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every decision to prioritize yourself creates new pathways of courage and confidence. Over time, those pathways become stronger than the old ones. The fears that once controlled you weaken. The doubts that once paralyzed you fade. What once felt impossible now becomes second nature. And it's not only your mind that changes, your energy shifts too. People around you can sense it. They may not know what happened, but they feel the difference. You carry yourself differently. You speak with more certainty. You no longer wait for permission to move forward. You walk into rooms with quiet strength because you are no longer divided inside. You are no longer seeking scraps of worth from others. You have built it within, and it radiates outward. This is the power of focusing on yourself. You rise without even trying to prove anything. The irony is that the people you once chased may notice you more than ever, but by then you will not need their attention. You will not crave their validation. You will not measure your value by their presence. Instead, you will see clearly that their absence gave you back your power. You will understand that you were never meant to live your life in the shadow of someone else's approval. You were meant to stand in your own light, unshaken, unbroken, unstoppable. The beauty of this journey is that it doesn't just free you, it inspires others. When people see you prioritize yourself, when they see you rise after heartbreak, when they see you choose peace over chaos, they are reminded of their own strength. You become a mirror that shows them what is possible. You become living proof that healing is real, that transformation is attainable, that no rejection has the power to define them. Your courage creates ripples far beyond what you can see. And yet, the greatest victory will always be personal. It is the peace of looking in the mirror and finally recognizing yourself again. It is the relief of no longer living with the constant ache of waiting for someone who is not coming back. It is the joy of realizing that your best days are not behind you, but ahead of you, ready to be lived by the strongest version of who you are. Letting go was not just an act of release. It was a declaration that you deserve more. And focusing on yourself is how you prove it every single day until your life becomes the masterpiece you once thought was out of reach. The freedom you feel when you no longer chase is the beginning of a deeper kind of power, the power to direct your life on your own terms. For too long, you gave away control. You waited for answers from others, waited for their approval, waited for their return. But waiting kept you trapped in a story that was never meant to define you. The moment you stop waiting and start choosing, your entire reality begins to shift. You see that the life you want is not something anyone else can give you. It is something you must build from within. The truth is, no one else will fight for your dreams the way you will. No one else will protect your peace with the same urgency you must. No one else will know the fire that lives inside you, the potential waiting to be released, the visions you hold in the quiet of your mind. This is why focusing on yourself is not an option. It is a responsibility. It is the only way you rise into the life that is waiting for you. Every time you invest in yourself, you are sending a signal to the world that you are serious about who you are becoming. And make no mistake, this is not easy. It takes courage to step out of patterns that kept you small. It takes discipline to redirect your energy when your heart still aches for what is gone. It takes strength to sit with the silence instead of filling it with distractions. But these are the very moments that shape you. Growth does not come wrapped in comfort. It comes through the fire of choosing yourself when it feels hardest to do so. And every time you choose you, that fire forges resilience. It builds character. It creates a foundation strong enough to hold the life you are building. Think about what happens when you no longer spend your nights consumed by who isn't thinking of you. That time becomes fuel for your purpose. Think about the energy you gain when you stop pouring it into unanswered questions. That energy becomes the drive to take bold action. Think about the clarity that comes when you stop replaying old stories. That clarity becomes the vision to create new ones. This is not about forgetting the past. It is about refusing to let it dictate your future. When you focus on yourself, you step into alignment with who you truly are. Your choices begin to reflect your worth. Your habits begin to match your goals. Your relationships begin to mirror your growth. This is how transformation unfolds, not as a sudden miracle, but as the natural result of honoring yourself consistently. Others may not understand it. Some may even resist it. But you will feel the difference every single day. You will know deep down that you are no longer drifting, you are directing. And perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is the realization that you never needed their permission to rise. You never needed their presence to prove your value. You never needed their approval to shine. The strength you searched for in others has always lived inside you, waiting for this very moment. By letting them go, you uncovered it. By focusing on yourself, you strengthen it. And by continuing forward, you will transform it into the force that carries you into the life you deserve. You are not powerless. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are rising, and nothing can stop a person who finally decides to own their power and build their life with unshakable focus. The moment you stop giving your energy to those who walked away, you begin to realize how much strength has always been waiting inside you. That strength is not new. It has been buried under years of self-doubt, compromise, and the belief that you had to earn love by sacrificing yourself. But when you release what is not yours to hold, you uncover the resilience that has been quietly holding you together all along. That resilience is now your greatest weapon. It grows sharper every time you choose yourself. You have to understand the world will not hand you peace. It will not place confidence in your lap. It will not gift you clarity. These are things you must claim through focus and intention. Every morning you wake up, you are faced with a decision to give your energy away or to invest it in yourself. One choice keeps you trapped in cycles of emptiness. The other pulls you toward freedom, and freedom is worth the struggle. Freedom is worth the discomfort of letting go. Freedom is worth the silence you must walk through to find yourself again. Psychologists have proven that our sense of fulfillment does not come from external approval, but from living in alignment with our values. That means happiness is not about who stays or who leaves. It is about whether your daily actions reflect the person you want to become. If you value growth but spend your time waiting for someone's attention, you feel empty. If you value peace but keep entertaining chaos, you feel broken. But when your actions match your values, when you focus on building yourself, you experience the deep satisfaction that no other person can provide. This is why letting go is not a loss. It is the reset button your soul has been begging for. It gives you the chance to start again with a foundation of truth instead of illusion. It gives you the chance to ask, who am I when I am not chasing anyone? Who am I when I am not proving my worth? Who am I when I allow myself to be enough? And the answers to those questions will awaken a strength that no rejection can take away. You will start to notice the shift in subtle ways. The silence that once terrified you will begin to feel like peace. The goals that once seemed out of reach will begin to feel possible. The reflection you once avoided in the mirror will begin to look back with confidence, and with each passing day, you will realize that your worth was never tied to who chose to stay. Your worth is defined by your decision to rise again and again, even when it hurts, even when it feels lonely, even when no one else believes in you yet. There will come a moment when you look back and realize the pain that once crushed you has become the very fire that built you. The emptiness that once scared you has become the space where your strength grew. The endings you thought would break you were actually the beginnings you needed. And in that moment, you will no longer feel the urge to chase anyone, because you will finally understand the only person you ever needed to catch was yourself. That is the power of focus. That is the gift of letting go. And that is the reason your future is brighter than you ever imagined. Because for the first time, it is in your hands and your hands alone. When you finally see that you were always the one you needed to find, something inside you awakens, a fierce clarity that no one can take away. That clarity tells you the truth you may have ignored for too long. You were never incomplete. You were never lacking. You were never defined by who stayed or who left. You have always been whole, even in the moments you felt broken. The cracks you carry are not signs of weakness. They are the evidence of survival. They show that you endured what tried to destroy you, and you are still here, stronger than before. The strength you hold now is not about pretending pain never existed. It is about rising in spite of it. Every tear you shed, every night you questioned your worth, every time you felt abandoned, it all became fuel for this moment. It hardened your spirit in the best way, not by making you cold, but by making you unshakable. The love you longed for was never about another person. It was about returning home to yourself, realizing you deserve the same care, patience, and devotion you once gave away so freely. And here is the most powerful truth. When you focus on yourself, you stop needing anyone else to complete you. And that is when you become truly magnetic. The world responds to people who know their value. Opportunities gravitate toward those who walk in confidence. The right relationships are drawn to those who no longer beg to be chosen, but choose themselves first. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is living as though you believe deeply and unapologetically that you are enough. Every time you invest in your growth, you are teaching your mind that you are worthy of progress. Every time you protect your boundaries, you are showing yourself that your peace matters. Every time you refuse to settle for less, you are rewriting the story of your life. And as you keep doing this, your identity shifts. You no longer see yourself as someone who is left behind. You begin to see yourself as someone who is moving forward, building, creating, becoming. The old version of you, the one who begged, who chased, who doubted, fades into the background. A stronger version takes center stage. It's important to remember that growth is not always loud. It is not always visible to others right away. Sometimes it happens quietly in the way you speak to yourself, in the way you choose to rest, in the way you hold your head a little higher. These subtle shifts are the foundation of transformation. Over time, they compound into unshakable confidence. What once felt impossible, letting go, moving on, focusing inward, becomes your new normal. And with this new normal, your life begins to expand in ways you could never imagine. One day you will look back at the version of yourself who felt powerless, and you will feel nothing but gratitude. Gratitude that you endured. Gratitude that you chose differently. Gratitude that you turned pain into strength and silence into clarity. And in that gratitude, you will realize the truth you were searching for all along. You never needed to hold on to them to find your purpose. You only needed to hold on to yourself. This is the turning point. This is the moment where your future opens wide. Because when you stop clinging to what was and pour yourself fully into who you are becoming, there is nothing left to limit you. You rise free. You rise whole. You rise unstoppable. The moment you recognize your own wholeness, you begin to understand that your life has always been waiting for you to step fully into it. The distractions, the chasing, the clinging, they only delayed your arrival. Now you see that the path forward is not about fixing yourself for someone else, but about expanding into the fullness of who you already are. This expansion requires courage. It asks you to no longer measure your progress by how much love you receive, but by how much love you give yourself. It demands that you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing your own future with conviction. When you rise into this truth, you tap into a deeper level of strength. Discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in motion. It is the daily act of proving to yourself that your vision matters more than your impulses, that your healing matters more than your old habits, that your growth matters more than temporary comfort. Psychology shows that when you create small daily wins, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation. That means every single time you honor yourself, you are wiring your mind for more strength, more courage, more progress. You are literally building a new identity, one choice at a time. And here is the beauty of it. The more you practice this, the less you crave validation from others. The emptiness begins to fade, replaced by purpose. The longing turns into momentum, pushing you toward the life you are meant to create. Instead of waiting for someone else to see your potential, you begin to see it yourself. You act on it, you nurture it, you grow it. And the more you grow, the more unstoppable you become. There's a freedom that comes when you stop living for their attention. It is the freedom to design your own mornings, to build your own dreams, to protect your own peace without apology. It is the freedom to look at your reflection and know you are enough, not because someone else says so, but because you finally believe it. This kind of freedom cannot be taken from you. It is earned through the daily practice of choosing yourself, through the unshakable decision to no longer betray your own worth. As you keep walking this path, you will notice that the pain of the past no longer controls you. The memories may still exist, but they lose their power. The weight they once carried becomes lighter with every step you take forward. What once triggered you now reminds you of how far you've come. What once broke you now serves as proof of how much strength you hold. And in this realization, you stop fearing loss because you understand that nothing real can ever be taken from you. What is meant for you will align with your growth, not fight against it. Every decision to let go, every moment you focus on yourself, every act of self-respect brings you closer to the life you were always meant to live. A life where you are not chasing, not begging, not doubting, but creating, expanding, and thriving. A life where you no longer question if you are enough, because your actions prove it daily. A life where the love you once searched for outside flows endlessly from within. This is the transformation you have been searching for. It is already happening. And with every breath, with every step, you are stepping more fully into the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. When you choose to live from this place of freedom, something profound happens. You stop being controlled by the opinions of others. The voices that once dictated your worth begin to fade. The fear of judgment no longer chains you. The need to be understood no longer defines you. You realize that people will always have opinions, but those opinions are not your truth. Your truth is the steady fire inside you, the one that grows stronger each time you put your energy where it belongs, on yourself. This shift is powerful because it breaks one of the deepest human traps, the trap of external validation. For years, you may have built your identity around what others thought of you. Their approval lifted you, their rejection crushed you, but that cycle kept you powerless. True strength comes when you no longer need to be seen to know you are worthy. Psychology calls this internal validation, and it is one of the most liberating states a person can reach. When your sense of self comes from within, no one can give it and no one can take it away. Think about the energy you wasted trying to please everyone, trying to prove your value, trying to earn love that was never consistent. That energy can now be redirected towards something far greater, building the life you deserve. Instead of shrinking yourself to fit it into someone else's world, you begin to expand and create your own. Instead of bending to avoid rejection, you stand firm in your authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are unapologetically themselves, not those who live in the shadows of others' expectations. As this shift deepens, you begin to notice how different life feels when you live aligned with your own standards. You no longer chase love. You attract it by being whole. You no longer fear being alone. You embrace solitude as a space where clarity and creativity thrive. You no longer tolerate what drains you. You protect your peace with the strength of someone who finally understands their worth. And this understanding changes everything, because once you know your value, settling becomes impossible. What you must remember is that this journey is not about becoming someone new. It is about returning to the self you buried under years of seeking. That self has always been there, waiting for you to stop chasing shadows and turn inward. And when you reconnect with that self, you realize you are not broken, not unworthy, not behind. You are simply awakening to the truth that you are enough without the applause, that you are strong without the approval, that you are free without their presence. This awakening is not a single moment. It is a daily practice. Each day you choose self-respect. Each day you choose focus. Each day you choose growth. You are reinforcing the truth of who you are. And with time, this truth becomes unshakable. Even when challenges come, even when people misunderstand you, even when loneliness whispers, you remain grounded because you know where your power lives. It lives within you, not outside of you. The life you are building now is not fragile. It does not depend on who stays or who goes. It is rooted in your commitment to yourself. And because of that, it is unbreakable. This is your power. This is your freedom. And it will carry you higher than you ever imagined, because you are no longer waiting. You are creating. The moment you stop living for the eyes of others, you reclaim a kind of focus that feels almost unstoppable. Suddenly, the noise that once consumed you quiets, and you begin to hear what truly matters, your own vision. Every human being has a vision buried inside them, a picture of who they could become if they stopped holding back, if they stopped wasting energy on what doesn't belong to them. That vision is not a fantasy, it is a call. It is your future self reaching out, urging you to step into the life you were designed to live. When you start listening to that call, the world begins to open. What once felt impossible begins to look possible. What once felt far away begins to feel within reach. And this isn't magic, it's alignment. Psychology shows that when you create clear focus, your brain activates something called the reticular activating system. This system works like a filter, showing you opportunities that match your priorities. When your focus is on pain, you see more pain. When your focus is on growth, you see more ways to grow. When your focus is on yourself, you begin to notice paths that were always there, waiting for you to walk them. This is why letting go is so essential. As long as your mind is consumed with who left, you cannot see the door standing right in front of you. As long as your heart is tangled in the past, you cannot fully embrace the future. But once you release, once you shift that focus inward, you free yourself to see clearly again. And clarity is one of the greatest powers you will ever possess. With clarity, you stop chasing what is temporary. You stop entertaining what is toxic. You stop doubting whether you are capable. You see where you are, where you want to go, and what steps you need to take to get there. And every step, no matter how small, builds momentum. Every time you choose growth over distraction, you gain strength. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you gain progress. Every time you choose focus over chaos, you gain freedom. These choices compound. They build upon one another, creating a life that is no longer reactive, but intentional. And an intentional life is a powerful life. It is a life that does not wait for permission. It is a life that moves with purpose, no matter who stays, no matter who goes. What once consumed you begins to feel irrelevant. The questions that haunted you lose their grip. You no longer wonder why they left because the answer doesn't matter anymore. You no longer replay old conversations because your mind is too focused on building new ones with yourself. You no longer measure your worth by their silence because your actions now scream your value louder than their absence ever could. This is where the real transformation happens. Not in the moment they walked away, but in the moment you decided to stop following and start leading your own life. You have always had the power to rise. You have always had the potential to grow. You have always had the vision inside you, waiting to be lived. Now, with your focus reclaimed, nothing can stop you from stepping into it. Your future belongs to you, and the only thing standing in the way is the belief that you are not ready. But you are ready. You have always been ready. And now, with every ounce of your focus directed inward, you are finally proving it to yourself. When you begin to prove to yourself that you are ready, you step into a level of confidence that no rejection can shake. This confidence does not come from being perfect. It does not come from never failing. It comes from showing up for yourself again and again, even when it hurts, even when it feels heavy, even when no one else believes in you yet. Confidence is not built in the absence of fear. It is built in the presence of it. Every time you move forward despite doubt, you strengthen the belief that you can handle anything. This is the secret so many overlook. Self-belief is not something you wait for. It is something you create through action. You cannot think your way into confidence. You must act your way into it. Each small step you take becomes proof to your mind that you are capable. Each moment of discipline becomes evidence that you are stronger than your excuses. Each choice to focus inward becomes a declaration that you are worthy of building the life you desire. Over time, this proof stacks up. It forms a foundation so strong that nothing outside of you can shake it. And when your foundation is strong, you stop living at the mercy of others. You stop begging for reassurance because you already know your worth. You stop waiting to be saved because you have learned how to save yourself. This shift is life-changing. It frees you from dependence and places you firmly in control of your future. You begin to realize that your power was never about changing others. It was always about mastering yourself. Think of how different your days become when you carry this kind of strength. The things that once broke you barely leave a mark. The voices that once silenced you no longer matter. The people who once walked away no longer hold any power over you. Instead of being defined by what you lost, you are defined by how you rose. Instead of being trapped by what ended, you are propelled by what you are building. This is the transformation that happens when your focus is no longer scattered. It is centered on your growth, your peace, your purpose. Psychology shows us that humans thrive when they experience what's called self-efficacy. the belief that they can influence their own outcomes. Every time you let go of what does not serve you and focus on what you can control, you strengthen this belief. And the stronger it gets, the more unstoppable you become. You begin to trust yourself in ways you never have before. You no longer fear the future because you know you have the tools to face it. You no longer cling to the past because you know your power is in the present. And with this trust comes freedom, the freedom to dream bigger, to take risks, to pursue goals you once thought were out of reach. You are no longer weighed down by the fear of failure because you understand that failure does not define you. It refines you. It strengthens you. It prepares you. Nothing can truly defeat someone who refuses to quit on themselves. And that is who you are becoming. The person who refuses to quit, the person who chooses themselves no matter what, the person who continues to rise even when the world expects them to fall. This is the essence of transformation, not waiting for someone to see your worth, but finally seeing it yourself. Not chasing love outside, but building it within. Not clinging to what is gone, but standing tall in what is ahead. You are no longer a prisoner of who left. You are the architect of who you are becoming, and that makes you unstoppable. The moment you recognize that you are unstoppable, a new kind of responsibility falls into your hands. It is no longer about proving anything to the people who left. It is no longer about chasing validation from those who never saw your value. It becomes about something far more powerful, proving to yourself that you will not waste this life. You have one chance to live fully, one chance to pour your energy into something that matters, one chance to build a life that feels true, free, and fulfilling. And every second you spend trapped in the shadows of others is a second stolen from the future you could be creating. This is why focus is not just about productivity. It is about freedom. When you take your power back from the distractions, the doubts, and the past, you reclaim the right to design your days. You decide what gets your energy. You decide what deserves your time. You decide who earns a place in your life. That is strength. That is ownership. And ownership is what separates those who drift through life from those who rise and lead their own. Think about what happens when you stop scattering your energy everywhere else and channel it directly into your growth. You begin to sharpen. You become more disciplined. You build habits that lift you higher instead of keeping you stuck. You begin to live in alignment with your values. And when your actions match your values, you feel unstoppable clarity. The anxiety that once consumed you fades because your mind is no longer fighting itself. Your actions finally match your intentions. You start to feel proud of the person you are becoming, not because others approve, but because you know you are honoring the life within you. Every great transformation begins with this alignment. It is what gives you the strength to push through resistance. It is what allows you to stay focused when temptation to fall back appears. And it is what makes you resilient when life throws challenges your way. Because challenges will come. Pain will still knock at your door. But when your focus is strong and your foundation is unshakable, you meet those challenges differently. You no longer ask, why me? Instead, you ask, how can I grow through this? That single shift changes everything. The people who walked away may have thought they broke you, but what they really did was free you. They removed themselves so you could finally see the truth, that your strength never depended on them. Your future never depended on them. Your worth never depended on them. And when you finally accept this truth, you are no longer chained by what has ended. You are liberated to embrace what is beginning. This is the reward of letting go. Not emptiness, but expansion. Not loss, but liberation. Not weakness, but strength. You become someone who no longer fears endings because you understand that every ending is also the beginning of something greater. And that something greater is you, becoming more focused, more resilient, more alive than ever before. Every step you take from this point on is proof that you chose yourself, proof that you valued your future over your past, proof that you refused to shrink when life gave you the chance to rise. And as this proof builds, so does your power. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer wishing. You are living, building, and becoming. And nothing can stop that momentum now. The momentum you carry now is not fragile. It is not something that can be taken away by silence, rejection, or loss. It is built from within. And because of that, it cannot be broken by anything outside of you. When you begin to live from this place, you no longer look backward. You no longer waste time comparing yourself to who hurt less, who moved faster, who seemed happier without you. You understand that comparison is a thief, and you refuse to hand your focus over to it. Your energy is too valuable to be scattered in envy or regret. It belongs to your growth, to your healing, to your vision of what is possible. This is where discipline becomes your ally. Not the kind of discipline that feels like punishment, but the kind that feels like power. Because discipline is freedom. Every time you say no to distraction, you are saying yes to your future. Every time you choose focus over comfort, you are saying yes to your strength. Every time you hold firm to the path you have chosen, you are proving to yourself that you are worthy of the life you are building. That proof compounds. It becomes a quiet, unshakable confidence that others can feel but cannot touch. You are not meant to live halfway. You are not meant to survive on scraps of love, attention, or approval. You are meant to live fully, deeply, boldly. And to do that, you must protect your focus like it is sacred, because it is. Focus is what determines whether your energy creates growth or wastes away in circles. Focus is what separates those who stay stuck in cycles of pain from those who rise out of them. Focus is what transforms vision into reality. Without it, dreams remain dreams. With it, dreams turn into something you can touch, feel, and live. The truth is, no one can do this work for you. No one can hand you focus. No one can give you discipline. No one can convince you to believe in yourself if you refuse to step into it. But when you decide, truly decide that your energy is yours to command, something extraordinary happens. Your excuses begin to shrink. Your fears begin to lose control. Your doubts begin to dissolve under the weight of your action. Because nothing quiets doubt like proof, and nothing builds proof like consistent action. This is how you rise, by refusing to give your power away to what you cannot control. By refusing to give your heart to those who mishandled it. By refusing to give your time to distractions that pull you off course. And by choosing every day to return to yourself. That return is the greatest act of courage. It is the moment you declare, I will not abandon myself no matter who abandons me. It is the moment you plant your feet firmly in the ground and decide you will not be moved by the storms around you. Storms will come, but storms also pass. And when they do, the one who remains standing is the one who chose focus over fear, growth over grief, and action over despair. That is who you are becoming. That is the power you are stepping into. And once you taste it, you will never want to go back to the version of yourself who doubted, who begged, who chased. That version is gone. The version that remains is strong, focused, and unshakable. And this version of you is ready to create a life that no loss can take away. The unshakable version of you does not wait for life to hand out clarity. You create it. You stop chasing answers from people who no longer belong in your story. You stop replaying old chapters, searching for meaning where none remains. Instead, you open a blank page, and with every choice, every action, every moment of focus, you begin to write something new. This is not just about letting go of them. It's about finally stepping into you, the real you, the one that was buried under doubt, fear, and comparison, the you that has always been waiting to emerge. When you stop searching for worth in the eyes of others, you begin to feel a shift deep inside. You notice how much lighter you are without the weight of their opinions. You notice how much stronger you feel when your energy is no longer drained by chasing what does not serve you. You notice how much more alive you become when your days are built around what matters to your soul, not what pleases someone else. That is the essence of freedom, not the absence of pain, but the presence of power, power to choose differently, power to rise above, power to live with intention. Every great transformation begins with this recognition that you are the one holding the pen, that you are the one shaping your days, that you are the one deciding whether you stay trapped in cycles or break through them. And the moment you take ownership of this truth, everything begins to change. You no longer feel like a victim of circumstance. You feel like a creator of destiny. You no longer live on autopilot. You move with intention. You no longer beg life to be easier. You demand that you become stronger. Psychologists tell us that purpose is one of the strongest forces driving human resilience. People who know their why can endure almost anyhow. And when you focus on yourself, when you let go of what does not belong, your purpose begins to rise to the surface. You may not see the entire picture yet, but you start to feel it. You start to sense that your struggles were not wasted, that your pain was shaping you, that your losses were carving out the space for something greater to be built. Purpose is not given, it is uncovered. And focusing inward is the shovel that digs it out. The more you align with that purpose, the less the noise of the world can touch you, the less you care about who doubted you, who left you, who misunderstood you. Because you know now that their role was never to define you, it was to refine you. Their absence was not your defeat, it was your release. And with that release comes space, and with space comes clarity, and with clarity comes power. So you rise, not because life suddenly became easy, but because you finally became willing. Willing to face yourself, willing to fight for your growth, willing to stop giving away your power to those who did not deserve it. That willingness is your turning point. That willingness is your rebirth. And once it ignites, no force, no loss, no person can extinguish it. You become unstoppable, not because you never fall, but because you never again abandon yourself when you do. You stand, you rise, you build, and you keep moving forward. Because now you know that the only approval you ever needed was your own.